Our seminar tonight, double your cash flow with a basement suite. Like I said in the intro, we love doing this seminar because it adds cash flow to all of our investors' bottom line. And we're going to go through exactly what you have to do to legalize a suite slide by slide. And like Azad said just a little while ago, we're going to go over the City of Calgary's secondary suite incentive program. It just got approved today. So what it is you can actually get $10,000 in grants to help you legalize your basement suite. And sometimes it might only take 10 grand to legalize the basement suite. That may cover the whole cost of it. So we're going to go over that, what's involved in it, what's covered in it, just in a few slides. But to start off,
I'll just speak about Daniel here. I just want to send a congratulations to Daniel. He just bought his fourth suited property. We wrote how many offers for Daniel? We said 15 or 16. Daniel needed conditions in this, where he wanted conditions in this market. So we wrote multiple offers for him. He's only a young guy. He's bought 4 properties, and he just actually bought one last week. So.
And he's going to legalize that one as well. It's an illegal suite. He's going to go through the process to legalize it.
Yeah, and speaking about the property here, he's got that one's in Huntington Hills, massive corner lot. He's going to do very, very well in Huntington Hills. Corner lots are selling over 600,000 right now. I think we picked this one up for low 4s. He did go ahead and put the kitchen in after he bought it and rented that out. So he's done very, very well on this property. And you know what? He moved into a property where his latest purchase is in Erin Woods. And we just want to have a shout out to the Northeast because, Tim, we were in the Northeast the other day in Pinewood, and we'll speak to Pine Ridge. We will speak to the not even, it was a legally suited property, this one in Pine Ridge. It came on for 620. It was a stunning property though in Pine Ridge. And we got to speak to the Northeast because there are beautiful pockets in the Northeast. As we said, Daniel just bought in Erin Woods. He bought in, I call it, Tim, the estates of Erin Woods.
Erin Woods is technically not the Northeast, it's the Southeast, but anything on that side of, on the east side of Deerfoot Trail, generally is classified as the Northeast, but you know, Daniel's property was stunning.
Yeah, and we bought another one on that street. There's a couple of streets in Erin Woods that are cul-de-sacs. They just go up and they're dead ends. And there's bigger homes in this section. It would be, Tim, the east section of Erin Woods. And some people say it's better in Erin Woods. So we've seen the signs out there. And we didn't know this, but you know what? You got a real beauty of a property. This place is massive. Like, it's 1,400 square feet up. It's a bi-level walkout. The kitchen is huge in it. We will do a property tour when he takes possession so you guys can see it. But he's on to his 4th property that he's turning into a legal suite. So congratulations to Daniel. And here are some other people that have suited properties. And you know what? Suited properties, when you are investing or you're getting tenants, if you need help with that, that's what we're here for. When we do buy the properties for our clients, we're there every step of the way for our investors. We're not like normal real estate agents where they will buy your property and say, see you later. We're not doing that at all. We're actually helping you get it rented so you rent it to the right people and that investing is easy for you. But we want to talk about to renting a suited property just quickly because you got to play matchmaker. We say this in our landlord seminar that we do every year. You got to kind of match people up. You can't have, you know, young people upstairs and a young family with a baby downstairs. It's just not going to work. Or, you know what, you need to kind of work out if the 2 sets of tenants are going to get along because, Tim, it won't work and they'll only last a year and move out. A few other factors when it comes to suited properties, if it's worth it, we always say that there has to be parking available. I mean, Daniel's property, it is in a cul-de-sac, and sometimes cul-de-sacs are the worst for suited properties because there is no parking in cul-de-sacs, right?
Yeah, but he's got a double garage and a double parking pad, and he can put 2 cars out front of his house. So there's room for 6 cars on that lot. So that's more than enough when you have a suited property.
Exactly. So we're very particular if the lot has parking. Some cul-de-sac locations, it's a reverse pie. A reverse pie-shaped lot means that it's larger at the front and tapers in at the back. And when it tapers in, there is no room to park back there. So there is no parking. So you just got to watch that. That's the big thing. And the reason why we say about the parking, if you do have an illegal suite, the first thing neighbors are going to get upset about is the parking. The second is the noise. Okay, so when we say you got to play matchmaker with tenants, you can't match them too good, because if you match them too good, they're having parties in the backyard and they're having all their friends over, and then the neighbors get upset as well. So match them good, but not too good, if you know what I mean.
So there's a question in here
Yes.
from Nico. You mentioned the average increase in market value of property after completing a lower suite legalization. We used to go off the average increase of 50 grand, because that's what we were seeing in the market. Legal versus illegal basement suites, there was a $50,000 difference. Nowadays, the price difference is huge. That just having that legalization sticker on your back door there, you're in the suite registry, the City of Calgary suite registry, can add up to probably up to $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 in value to your property. And we're seeing people selling legalized suites right now for massive amounts. Every time a place with a legal suite comes on the market these days, it goes into multiple offers. And not only are investors buying them, but first-time home buyers are buying them because they can use that basement suite as a mortgage helper.
Yeah, so you know what? You really got to, yeah, that's the main thing, Tim. Thanks for getting that out there. But just speaking to some of these people out here, I see Grant's on the call. Grant, you're famous. You're in there. We haven't seen you for a long time. But you know what? If you're young out there, there's a fellow up the top left corner, Connor. He's one of our heroes for being so young, Tim, to get in there. And his first property, Tim, he went and legalized, lived in the basement. It was an illegal suite, turned it into a legal suite, house hacked that property, actually lived for free because the tenants upstairs were paying enough money so he could live for free in the basement. And this is what the young people need to do. This helped him, propelled him to buy his second property, where he went and done it all over again. And now, Tim, he actually lived upstairs and took the garage. So
yeah, but again, these are people from all walks of life. They're not all young people. The couple right here that my mouse is circling around, Fraser and Lisa, they're not young, right? Yeah. They're approaching retirement age in their careers, but they went ahead and they bought a property that was in Southwood. It looked like it was in Haysboro, but it was in Southwood, and they legalized the suite in that one. So you don't have to do this when you're 20 years old. You could be in your 50s. We've even got couples in their 60s that are legalizing basement suites, because it adds that extra amount of cash flow, and it will help out whether they use it to retire with or whether they need that extra cash flow just to augment their lifestyle.
And just speaking to rents, I know Nico was speaking about the appreciation aspect of it all. Yes, people will pay crazy amounts of money now just to get a turnkey legally suited property. It is worth just getting into flipping right now and putting in suites for people, because you can make incredible money. The property we went out to see in Pine Ridge, we were going in with a very strong offer. It sold unconditional, Tim. The realtor didn't even want to disclose to us how much, because he said this is just a crazy offer. So we're expecting $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 above the list price out in Pine Ridge, which is unbelievable. So that's on the value side, but we're seeing, and this is very exciting, we're only buying suited properties that we know that will rent out for minimum $4,000 per month. And Tim, that is low compared to what our clients are getting. We had a client, Gersh, in Thorncliffe, right? He put in a basement suite. So he actually put it in. And we're like, geez, stay under budget with the cost and everything. And it doesn't matter. He rented the basement for $2,000. He rented out his garage for $700, and he rented out the main floor for $2,800. And this is just a bungalow in Thorncliffe. I mean, it's nice.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. We bought it because we know the C-Train station, or C-Train, is going to be running up Centre down the road, and we wanted to get something. It's a builder's lot, so it has an exit strategy. You could probably, Tim, on that one, get 5 townhouses. or 5 townhouses with basement suites on them later on down the road. That was the plan or his strategy. But right now, even buying in today's market, he's cash flowing really, really nicely.
Yeah. So one more couple I want to talk about before we leave this slide here. Actually, there's a question here. Curious, can the basement legal suite share a kitchen with the main upper suite? No, they have to be separate dwellings to be considered legal suites. So you can't share a kitchen, you can't share bathrooms. It has to be a separate dwelling. The other couple I want to talk about is Bill and Audrey. Earlier this year, they had owned 2 properties with legal suites. They wanted to, this is their story, they wanted to sell the properties with legal suites, sell their principal residence, and they've gone ahead and they've had a new build. They bought a new build down in Creekside, which is south of Silverado, way down south. So they bought a side-by-side with both sides having legal suites. What they want to do is they want to move into the main floor of one side. They've sold both of their legally suited rental properties, which both went into multiple offers and went for crazy prices, by the way. They're going to sell their principal residence and they're going to live in one side of that side by side. They're going to rent out the other side, the other basement and their own basement, plus one of the garages, and they're just going to travel. Bill has already sold his business, so he's retired. Audrey's approaching that age. Their kids have moved out of the house. So they're going to live off the rental properties and they purchase these things with the proceeds of their principal and their older rental properties. So they're going to live mortgage free and just have time to travel.
And they came to us just like you guys, just by coming to a seminar like this. And they've added over $500,000 to their retirement just by taking action, just by coming to a seminar like this. I mean, Tim has taken a few years, but you know what? They listened to us. They've got some tenant stories. And that's the other thing I want to stress with you guys out there. Having suited properties, yes, it's a little bit more work, but the rewards are there. You get more rent, 100%. It's all about getting the right tenants. They did that. And Tim, we sold their properties for record prices this year. And we've got one more to go after to sell another.
Yeah. Okay, there's a question about development permits. We're going to get into that a few slides from now. So just hang on to that question. We'll answer that then. Legalizing an existing secondary suite. This is what we specialize in. We love to find these properties with an illegal suite, but that takes very little cash to legalize the suite. It might need just smoke detectors that are interconnected, or it might need egress windows dug out. You might have to, put some window wells in and put bigger windows in the bedrooms. We like to find these properties where it takes very little cash. And some of our clients have done it for as little as under $2,000. They've legalized the suite.
Yeah, exactly. So a suite that's cost us the least is $2,500. That was in Inglewood. Mark Chalk did that.
Yeah.
He's a guy that works up in Fort Mac. He travels for work and he did it for $2,500. So what to look out for when you do go into properties that have existing suites. The first thing, Tim, or the biggest factor that you want to know out there, was the kitchen installed before 2018? That is a huge factor because, Tim, you tell them.
Yeah, if it's pre-2018, then you can go through, it's sort of a lesser aggravating process to turn the suite legal. If it's after 2018, then the city requires that secondary suite be brought up to today's building code. So you're not going to be able to share a heat source. You're not going to be able to.
It's going to cost you a lot more money.
It's going to cost you a lot more money if you're doing it today's.
You've got to have HVAC in there.
Yeah, due to the legal suite.
So that is a huge factor. So we're always looking at that. And so the reason why I want to tell you that, and Sarah, yes, if you promise us you'll go to work tomorrow and tell your friends about us, we will send you these slides, no problem. And anyone else who wants the slides. But the biggest factor when you go into a suite, or the reason why we want to tell you that, is some renovators out there are selling flip properties. We see this all the time. They're selling flip properties with illegal suites, and we want to stress this because it's buyer beware. If you don't know what you're doing and you go and buy this property, and they just put in that kitchen, you will have to abide by today's rules, meaning We've seen in some cases, they've told people to rip down the drywall on the ceiling to redo it. They've told people to put in another furnace. It could cost a lot of money. So if you're looking at buying a suite of property and it's illegal and it's new, you have to have buyer beware just because it could cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, there's a question. How do you figure out if you bought it and the suite was put in after 2018? We can determine it through the MLS history. If it was listed as a suite of property before 2018, that's enough evidence for the city to take that as evidence. You can also go back in the previous owner, if he can provide a rental ad from pre-2018, that will suffice. Or if the place just has a dated kitchen in the basement, dated bathroom, city inspector will walk in there and he'll know that this place, you didn't put in a kitchen that looks like 1970 in a newer suite. So there's ways that you can provide proof to the city that it was there pre-2018. The best evidence though would be an MLS listing from back then.
Yeah. Just shout out to Nico. He just sent us a picture and he's watching this with his little baby. He had a baby too.
Yeah.
So congratulations. Okay. Is there another question?
Yeah. What is the ratio of squatters we see here in Calgary compared to other metro cities in Canada? There is the odd instance of people squatting in vacant houses, but it's very, very infrequent. As a matter of fact, over our 20 years of investing, 20 plus years of investing in the city, we've come across it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very rare.
Especially like I mean, Alberta has one of the friendliest landlord, rules, regulations areas in the country. We're not like Toronto. In
BC, once they're in there, you can't get them out. You can get them out fairly easy here.
Yeah.
And sometimes landlords do look at it as the Wild West and they get them out.
Yeah, we've gone there.
You can talk about how they get them.
We can tell you stories. We've done it before. And what is the average cost of putting in a basement suite? I mean, if you're starting from scratch, we just did one, Tim. It was a smaller one. It was in Mackenzie Town on a half duplex. And that one needed a whole new staircase going into the basement. I mean, it was a massive reno and we did it under $80,000. So when it comes to that, and I want to stress this when it comes to basement suites like that, if you're starting from scratch, we would have a conversation with our clients to see if it's worth it, because max rents on it, that size of a place is going to be $1,700. So it's going to take some time to get that money back. I mean, that client bought low and prices went up, so he had equity. We wouldn't want to use your cash. Put it this way, we wouldn't want to use your cash to put in an $80,000 basement suite. No way in the world. We would want you to use the equity in the property to use it. Your cash is to go buy more assets. I mean, the market's going crazy. Everybody should be making money right now. There's so many ways to make money in an up market. The money shouldn't be tied up into a basement suite. That's what we're going to stress on that. And it goes the same with carriage suites. Carriage suites are the suites above a garage or a garden suite out in the backyard. You should be using equity to do things like that, because the yield from it isn't enough to justify spending 80K.
Yeah, when people are driving through neighborhoods like Mackenzie Town or Garrison Woods, things like that, where there are a lot of carriage suites over the garages in the back lanes, they think, wow, that's a really good idea. I think I should do on the top of my garage. Well, doing it after your garage is built is pretty impractical. You pretty much have to tear the thing down and build it up. New garage, new suite on top. It's very, very hard to do it retroactively. But when someone's having a house built and it's being done that way, or they're having a garage built and they build the suite on top, that's when you do it. We would always advise doing a basement suite before you add a carriage suite, unless you wanted a garage built in your backyard and then you put a suite up.
Yeah, so the best way, someone else is asking, what do we recommend? The best way to suite a property right now is find an existing suite before 2018 and update it. That is the best way. And when we say update it, there's estimated 36,000 suites in Calgary. 36, to write that down, 36,000. I think, Tim, we're up around 12,000 legal. We're up around 12,000 legal. So there is a lot of illegal suites. The best way is to find one of those properties, but not just any property, but to find one of those properties that you can turn into a legal suite. And those properties may only need an egress window. They may only need a smoke detector. They may only need a drywalled ceiling, right? Or drywall in the basement, which we're going to get into all of these things. But you guys are awesome with your questions tonight. There's so many.
We need to get going on.
Yeah, we need to
on the
get going.
presentation.
So we're going to get going a little bit. We're going to ignore the questions, but put them there. We will get to it if any come up.
Yeah, so the first thing you got to do is get a permit to put your basement suite in. Now, you go through the planning department, you get a development permit. All you have to do is go on the City of Calgary's website, and there are pages and pages and pages telling you what to do with your development permit when you want to put a basement suite in, whether it's building a new suite or legalizing an existing suite. But that development permit is the first step in the process. And once you have that, then you have 2 years to complete the work to satisfy the city. The thing about that 2 years is it's great because if you have an illegal suite, city comes in, they want to shut you down, you can say, no, I want to legalize this suite. You apply for a permit, you get your permit, and then you have 2 years to do the work.
And just speaking to permits, I just want to stress this. If you don't have the permit and you have a nosy neighbor, we've seen it where you'll get shut down and all work stops. So what happens then is the contractor gets upset because the contractor has his time allotted to your project. And when it's all stopped, then you got to try to get everybody back in on their time. So you might as well spend the money and get the permits. I'm just being honest with that. I mean, if it's nothing major, it's just a bit of electrical or smoke detectors, we haven't pulled permits to do that. But I mean, we're saying get the permits. It's not a lot of money. Just do it properly. And for everybody out there that hasn't seen our Crew TV or Calgary Real Estate Wealth TV, we are putting in a legal basement suite in Marlborough right now. There's a video. It's about, Tim, 3 weeks old now, 2.5 weeks, 2.5 weeks old. Go on our Crew TV and watch that video and you'll see what we're doing in there. It's a massive reno.
Yeah. So after that development permit, you're going to need a building permit where you got to provide drawings and you got to provide things that you're going to put in or modify that are down there. Again, the city site will walk you through that. If you need help, you can use a contractor that specializes in putting in basement suites or legalizing basement suites. We know a number of them, so we can help you with that. But just to let you know, your process has to be permitted. That's something that you're going to run into. Building code requirements, you're going to have requirements for the size of the windows. You're going to have requirements for the smoke and fire detection. You're going to have requirements for heights of the doors. There will be requirements for the type of drywall that's on the ceiling. You're going to have to drywall in your furnace room, which we had a question about. There are all kinds of building code requirements. Again, you can find this information out yourself. You can question the city. Some of their inspectors are nice. Some of their people at City Hall are very nice as well. But you should educate yourself on the process before you even get into it.
Yeah, and just speaking to building codes, I mean, some things to look out for. We see this all the time. We will go into a basement suite and the electrical panel will be too close to a water source, right? Or we've seen crazy things where the kitchen is in the furnace room. Like that's probably the crazy, and this isn't once or twice. This is multiple times over the years that we go into properties where a kitchen will be in the furnace room. We're like, yeah, this is totally illegal. So you have basement suites and then you have those basement suites.
Yeah, some of those suites are so illegal that it's better off just to take it all out and start in there.
Yeah, and then you also have some basement suites that maybe in a split level property that the ceiling is very low. We've seen some basement suites that you need hobbits to live in. I mean, Tim is a tall guy, and when he has to bend his head in a basement suite, I mean, it's not appealing at all, okay? We've seen basement suites with very little windows in the property. It's not right. You want something that's appealing to tenants. We want you to have something that you're proud of, okay, that you're happy to own. So just little things to look out for. Another pet peeve of ours is where is the bathroom located? We see this all of the time where the bathroom door is right in the kitchen, right? So you don't want that. Like you don't want that at all. Tenants don't want that. You don't want that. So, and then other things is layouts. Sometimes Sometimes
That's a good
Sarah's having fun with that. Yes, Sarah's talking about Bowness. So, okay, I'll talk about Bowness just quickly with their basements. In Bowness and Montgomery, which is next door, you
Even
have
parts of Capitol Hill.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Tim.
Yeah.
Capitol Hill. You have 1910, 1920, 1930, 1940 homes. We sold one in Altadore, Tim. That the basements are dug out, so there's really no space down there. Those properties do not work for basement suites. We're just being honest. We wouldn't pour money into that because it's just not worth it. I mean, we've been in so many situations with properties. Sometimes we've seen where you got to walk through the furnace room to get to the bathroom, or walk through the furnace room
Get to a bedroom.
to get to a bedroom. That's not going to work. Okay, there's no need to buy those. So we see people buy these properties, and we're like, "Who bought you this?" Like, you want a good layout, a good sized kitchen. You want it bright and spacious. We love bungalows. We love bi-levels. We just realized just the other day why we love bi-levels so much. Bi-levels give you the highest amount of ceiling, floor to ceiling ratio than any other property. And what we love about that is the ductwork doesn't interfere with your living space. Sometimes you go into basement suites and the ductwork is going everywhere, and it's so low in certain sections that you wouldn't even want to be in that room because it's just not appealing. So there's so many factors we want to just talk to about codes and talking about just layouts, Tim, in general.
Yeah, so moving on, smoke and fire protection. The main thing about your smoke detectors downstairs and upstairs is they have to be interconnected. Now, whether that's hard wiring interconnected or wireless, which they allow nowadays, they have to be interconnected so that if there's a fire in the basement, the fire alarms will go off upstairs and vice versa. It's just a safety aspect. It's required on all basement suites right now. And it's going to cost you probably anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 to do that. Sometimes it'll be cheaper, but it's one of those things that if you lead with safety, you can attract more tenants. So you're not going to get away with not having your smoke detectors interconnected. That's something that is it's a must-have. The next thing is exterior stairways and protection of secondary suite exits. If there's a stairway that goes down the side of the building or the back of the building to a back door to enter the basement, it has to have an awning on top of it or some sort of cover, and it has to have some sort of drain under the bottom of at the bottom landing so that it doesn't fill up with water.
Exactly.
The next thing is heating and ventilation. We talked about this. If you're building a new basement suite, you have to have two separate heat sources, one for upstairs and one for downstairs. You can add in an extra furnace, which the Marlboro project, Dennis did put an extra furnace in. It cost him, including installing the furnace and the ductwork that needed to be installed, it cost him $6,500.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it. And we told Dennis this. So we bought Dennis. So just going back, we bought Dennis. We like to call them Grandma's house.
Yeah.
And when we say Grandma's house, this place was impeccable. I mean, it was top notch, looked after for the last, 40 years, Tim?
Yeah.
And we told Dennis just to put in a simple kitchen, put the a laundry. So this is the other thing about talking about what you need in what we look for when we look for a suite of properties is it going to have shared laundry or is it going to have separate laundry? Now we can tell you if it has separate laundry, you're probably getting $50 to $100 more than having shared laundry. Tim, that would be absolute max. Yeah, to install a laundry upstairs, and where we finding, if you watch the video on the one out in Marlborough, we found a nice cupboard where it was going to go in. It was a linen closet to start off with. Now it's going to be a washer and dryer in there, but we've seen them put in at the back of a kitchen or in the dining area. We just have to make sure where the plumbing is downstairs to access. We've put them in bedroom closets. We've put them all over the place.
Two-piece en-suites.
We've actually, the Pine Ridge property had it at the back door where the closet normally is for the back door. There was a washer and dryer in it. So they can go all over. Having a washer and dryer, it just gives it that extra appeal for tenants. But having a nice shared laundry, that's fine as well. But Tim, I don't even know what I was talking about.
The design of the secondary suite, high level or.
Yeah. Is that what I was talking about? I'm swearing.
Started.
It'll come back to
Too
me.
much.
But
Anyway.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
no, that's what I was going to say. It just came back to me. Sorry, everybody out there. So Dennis, we told him not to spend a lot of money. Spending $6,500 for another furnace, I personally wouldn't do it, okay? I would go down the baseboard heating route. I know in my Minipore property, we went with baseboards in each room. We actually put this beautiful electric fireplaces you can get these days that just hang on the wall. They're super cheap. Like we got a really nice one for like $1,000 that heats up the whole room. That looks great as well. Tenants love it. So it's that added wow factor. And that is way cheaper than actually putting in a furnace. So I just want to stress that to everybody out there.
okay. If you are adding a new secondary suite, you have to, as we spoke of already, adhere to the Alberta Building Code. And you have, like, the building code has certain door heights, it has certain window sizes to open, it's got a specific place where your electrical panel can be, where your stove can be. So if you're building a new one, make sure that it's built to the code, because like this guy here, and we've seen entrance doors like this to secondary suites where you kind of have to duck to get in. That will not work in a new suite that you put in. So you're going to have to do everything to the building code. Moving on, entry and exit points. The main suite must have at least one entry, and the basement suite must have at least one entry. They can't, if you're building a new one, they can't share the same entryway.
Yeah, and just speaking of that, we've seen situations where it could be a split level, Tim, or we've seen bungalows that have patio doors off the front of, and this normally, Tim, we see this in semi-detached, where you get a semi-detached and the patio door to a balcony off the front for upstairs. And we've seen actually we've put in a staircase to go up to the balcony and then put in French doors to access the suite and then give the other door directly for the tenant downstairs. So there's different ways to do it. Split levels, same sort of thing. We've seen on a split level where that first level, when you come downstairs, you're actually on ground level in the backyard. And we've changed out the sliding doors to patio doors. So that is their entry point. You just want to make it accessible from where they're parking their car to getting into their suite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking to basement bedroom egress windows, every bedroom that you're calling a bedroom, if you have a secondary suite, has to have proper egress. So it has to be the large enough size so that someone can get out in an emergency. As you all probably know, all the bungalows built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, even the 90s, have those little, 1 foot by 2 foot windows. Very, very small. And when people put basements in those properties, it was usually done with all their neighbors getting together or their buddies building those basements. We've seen some crazy basement development from back in the day. You can't have those little windows in a room if you're going to call it a bedroom. And not only that, we like to see lots of windows down there because it adds light to the basement suite. And what that does is it attracts a lot for tenants who will rent that basement suite. There's nothing worse than trying to rent out a basement suite and it's very, very dark in there and it feels like a basement and it's dingy down there. You're going to have trouble keeping tenants for the long term.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you want something appealing, and that's we walk straight out of properties when it's not appealing. We just know that's going to be tough to rent out. You're not going to get the rents. And just quickly, while we're on this topic here, just speaking to two-story homes, we tend to stay away from basement suites and two-story homes, and we'll just explain why. On, say, bi-levels and bungalows, you get a larger footprint, okay? So when you get the larger footprint, if it's 1,000 square feet up, Tim, normally we're only seeing properties above 850 square feet up.
Yeah.
The reason why we do that is because the basement suite, when you take away the furnace room and the staircase going down, you're probably left with 700 square feet. And two-story homes generally will only give you that, especially two-story homes that are 1,500 square feet. That means you've got 750 on the main, 750 up. When you go downstairs, now your basement suite's only going to be 600 square feet, and a 600 square feet basement suite will only yield roughly $1,100 per month. How do we know that? Because rooms are rented for $1,100 per month right now. So we know a very small contained basement suite that's probably 1,100 to 1,250 max, where a bungalow or a bi-level or a split level will rent up to $2,000 per month.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to go one more thing too, where Tim, over the years, we've seen people overspend on their basement suites.
Yes.
So please don't do that. Once again, you're only going to get so much rent. We've seen someone do a reno, Tim. How much was that in Acadia? It was the best basement we've ever seen in our lives. I mean, the bathroom was like an ensuite bathroom.
Yeah, he wasn't even finished. It was at $120,000.
Yeah, and we're like, nah, you're only going to get so much in rent for this. And I mean, we can only tell people what to do. It's up to them if they listen.
Yeah, and speaking of spending money on a basement suite, if you need to build an exterior stairway down to ground level in the basement, these days it is very, very expensive. What's the cost on something like that?
Yeah, so there's two types of stairways, and this is what Tim was saying. If the stairs on a, say, a two-story home, say there is no exterior door, okay,
Yeah.
you need to put one on. First of all, you cannot buy, well, you can. You really want to be looking, if you are going down the road and getting a two-story home, which we've done it all over the place, in Auburn Bay, in places like Legacy, new homes. What we like to see is the staircase on the side. The reason why we like that is if it's on the side of the house, normally the stairs go down, say 8 steps, and then there's a landing, and then they go down again. So it goes down and then landing, and then it goes down this way. Why we like to do that is because to dig out on the side of the home, it could cost very little. I mean, you're cutting concrete no matter what, but to put in a exterior door on the outside now, you're not going all the way down. You're only going, half the way down.
Not even half.
Not even half. And it could cost, $4,000 to $6,000 to do that. Now, if you're going all the way down and putting in concrete, which we've done, like this, that's more like $11,000. And if you're pouring that concrete in the middle of winter, they got to hire generators to keep it warm. There are added costs to that as well. So we just want to stress that having that staircase or having the door there already is going to save you that. Having that extra access there already. Now you have the option just to have a door. You have the option to drywall it off and have two completely separate suites. What we'd like to see is having the upstairs tenants have access to the electrical panel, just because if one of the breakers does go, they can go down there and access it. So we'd like to see access to the furnace room, but if it's not possible, it's not possible.
Yeah. So in regards to plumbing, secondary suites, this is what probably was in a question earlier, but you have to have water in the kitchen sink. You got to have a bathroom sink. You have to have a tub or bathtub and shower. So you have to have everything that you need for an enclosed dwelling. You need that kitchen sink, you need the bathroom sink, and you need a tub, shower, whatever. So that has to be included in your secondary suite. You can't have more of a mother-in-law suite where they come upstairs, share a bathroom, or the kitchen's not completely done. One other thing that's required now, and anybody who's legalized a suite will run into this nowadays, is you need a backflow preventer on your main sewer line. Now, what that is it's a valve in the main sewer line. When the sewer water goes out, the valve is up like this, but when it stops going out, the valve comes back down and prevents water from the main sewer in your back alley from backing up during a flood event or a rain event, from backing up into your basement. That has to be installed. Now, they're not that expensive, but they do have to be installed in secondary suites these days. Moving on to electrical. If you have an existing suite or even a downstairs suite, they can't share the same electrical panel. What we're seeing now is these purpose-built suite properties in the newer neighborhoods, whether it's Redstone, whether it's Cityscape, whether it's Walden or Seaton down in the south. they have a 200 amp panel. Now, why do they have such big panels? Because you're running 2 stoves, you're running 2 washers and dryers. A lot of people might have a vehicle charger in the garage. So you're running a lot of power through this house, and the 200 amp panel is what's going to handle it. 100 amp will work, it's going to work, but if you buy a house with a secondary suite in it that's got a 60 amp panel, now these are the older houses from the 50s and 60s and even the 40s. In some of those neighborhoods, like Winston Heights, anything that was where the neighborhood was built in those eras, they may have a 60 amp panel. If you go to legalize the suite, you're gonna have to upgrade. And to upgrade a panel to a 100 amp panel, if you don't have an inside with an electrician, it's gonna cost you probably $4,000 to $5,000. Actually, we've seen the price go up. We had someone who recently put in a 100 amp panel, and he said he was quoted $6,500. So depending on the availability of the electricians, you could spend quite a bit on upgrading your electrical panel.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on when you are viewing properties. I mean, that's the first thing Tim does, go and see straight away with the property. He's looking at the panel, you know, just to see what the cost will be if we have to update that.
Yeah, but I believe we went over this, installing the furnace and secondary suites. If you put another furnace in, we're going to have it put in by a certified HVAC guy. You can't just install a furnace yourself. And usually if you have the ability to install it yourself, you need it inspected by somebody, and you're going to have trouble finding someone to inspect something that's not there. So just be prepared. If you put in that secondary furnace, you're going to have it put in by a certified HVAC guy. If you put in the electric baseboard heats, which is totally allowed, an electrician can usually put those in. Now, whether they're all interconnected or whether each one has its own thermostat on it, that's completely up to you. Okay, 2 inspections are required. First of all, you're going to need a rough-in inspection when you're building a new secondary suite. The inspectors want to see everything before the walls go up. So you can have all the studs up, all the framing done, and the inspector will want to go in and make sure that all your electrical work is done, all your HVAC work is done properly, all the venting and the duct work is done properly, and the plumbing as well. Your second inspection will be once everything's done, and they give you a final inspection, then they give you your sticker. So that's another thing that needs to be done. Now we're going to get to the City of Calgary Secondary Suite Incentive Program. This was just approved today. It's a program where you can apply for up to $10,000. So basically the city is paying you $10,000 to legalize your secondary suite.
Yeah, and for the people that weren't earlier, Paul, just quickly, we do have a program called Mortgage Plus Improvements. So if you are buying a new property and wanting to put in a suite, you can actually use the bank's money. You could use a mortgage, part of your mortgage, to fund that suite, installing that suite. Yes, you do have to pay your contractor his deposit, but the rest can come from, and you get back that deposit from your loan through Mortgage Plus Improvements. And now the city is giving you an incentive, and Tim's going to go through step by step on how to get this money back, but up to $10,000 you can get paid to do this. So the city wants you to do this. We want you to do this. And Tim, we didn't discuss the 3 main reasons we want you to do this. First is you can sleep at night. You're providing safe, affordable housing for tenants out there. We want you to do this. Second is that, well, third, really, safe and affordable is the first 2. Third is once you make this a legal suite, the banks count 2 sets of rents, which helps you or helps our investors buy more properties. And that's how our investors are on their 3rd, 4th, 5th suite of property just by doing this. And now you can get paid to do it.
Yeah, so this secondary suite incentive program, we would recommend that anybody legalizing a suite apply for this program. Now, because of that, get in early because it's probably going to run out of money. They've probably got a set amount of funds earmarked for this program. You know, a few $1 million. Once that money is gone, it's gone. So the people that get in early and apply for this incentive, they're the ones that are going to get it. Let me just move something around here. What is involved here? So the cost of these things, what the city will provide you with the grant after the fact is they will provide up to $1,500 to for egress windows. So if you have to core out 1 window, it'll probably cost you about $2,500 if you're doing it from scratch. The city will provide up to $1,500 for that. Hardwire interconnected smoke detectors, they will provide up to $1,000 for that. Protected exiting, which means your stairwell in the exterior of the house has a cover over it. They'll provide up to $1,000 for that. The smoke pipe barrier, meaning the drywall, either in your furnace room or throughout the basement, they'll provide up to $4,000 for that. And the final one is split heat or separate air, which they will provide, or they'll provide up to $6,000 for that. So if you have to put a new furnace in, or even baseboard heat, they will provide up to a $6,000 grant for that. Now, these totals, you can't go to the max for everyone because you can only go up to $10,000. But what we're telling you is that most of our people who are legalizing existing suites have paid less than $10,000.
Yeah, you could legalize, as we said, with as little as 2,500. Now, I want to stress something. I know Jess has got some questions. Anyone else have questions? Throw them in the chat.
There's a few questions. We'll go over them
in a second here. Yeah. I know Nico has been nice enough to answer a couple, but you know what? When we look at an existing suite, I mean, we tell the city that it was there before 2018, no matter what. I mean, they've got a pre-bus roll. So if it's not a brand new suite, like you can't get away with it if it's a brand new kitchen in there. But if it's an older kitchen, of course it was built before 2018, right? And one other thing is we get this question a lot. If you have existing tenants in there and you want to legalize, can the tenants live there? Yes, they can. Meaning, if you're applying to legalize your basement suite, yes, the city's not going to throw them out in the street. Before, back in the day, I could tell you, we had clients that would get shut down. The switch would get shut down and they would do crazy things. They would take out the stove and put it somewhere else and then bring it back. And it was just mayhem. But now it's not like that anymore. And there's some guys going to the pub probably. But anyway, it's not like that anymore. If it's safe and affordable, I mean, not affordable, if it's a safe property, they're not going to kick them out. And you've got 2 years after the fact to make it legal. I wouldn't get the city in, first of all, Jessica, to answer your question. What I would do is get a contractor in that knows what they're doing. If you're working with us, as I said, if you're going to work tomorrow, to tell your friends about us, we would be happy to share our contact to get our contractor in there. It costs nothing for you to do. David simply goes over there and assesses it, tells you exactly what has to be done, gives you a rough estimate to see if it's worthwhile. And then that way, you know, from an experienced contractor that has done over 100 basement suites, if you should go ahead on them.
Yeah.
Before you get the city in.
Yeah, and there was an earlier question about, can this be done in the wintertime? Of course it can. You can do it any time of the year. Most of the work is interior work when you're legalizing a basement suite, so contractors will do it in the winter, no problem. The one thing that will require exterior work is the egress windows, and the contractors will send people in there to dig it out, put your window well in, pour the concrete out with a concrete saw. It can all be done in the wintertime. They just won't do it in freezing weather. They'll probably wait for a snow to get done during the time. So take advantage of the secondary suite incentive program if you can, because like most government programs, it's going to run out of money. Everyone's going to be applying for this. So if you're legalizing your suite within the next year, you can probably get in on this program. The city will run out of money. It's a very, very good incentive program. And
don't go out there and spend a lot of money. I mean, to put in a kitchen these days, you can do it under $10,000. The basement suite doesn't have to have, like, you think like put island in and crazy stuff. I mean, make it nice, and if it's affordable, do it, but don't go to town on it. You can put basic appliances in there. You don't have to put stainless steel. And you know what, the dishwasher, if it's got one or it doesn't have one, if you have a dishwasher, you're probably going to get $50 more to $100 more per month. It's just that extra appealing to that tenant. But normally basement tenants, you know what, they know that it's only normally 1 or 2 people down there. So washing dishes isn't a big deal to them.
And another thing you do is just get a portable dishwasher.
Yeah.
Just search for a secondhand portable dishwasher. Those are the ones that you wheel up to the sink and you plug in. when you're doing your dishes, and then you wheel them away. So there are ways to get around these expensive builds.
Yeah.
Just be creative.
Yeah, we're going to have our contact details, a slide come up shortly so you guys can take a photo of them. Yeah, but we want to stress that don't spend too much money, make it appealing to renters out there. And you know what? With all of this going on with this incentive program, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah,
It's never been-
what Azad just mentioned is the most important thing to think about when you're legalizing a suite is how will this suite appeal to tenants? You know, you can adhere to every single building code, you could make this place, you know, 100% safe and all that, but does it appeal to tenants? Would you be willing to live down there?
Yeah.
Is it bright? Is it spacious? You know, is it functional? You're not walking through the furnace room to get somewhere. You're not going in hallways that are really, really tight, and you're not going down really, really long hallways. We've seen a few basement suites in the last couple of months where you walk down the stairs, you go through the door to the basement, and there's just a massive long hallway right down to the end before you can get into the bedrooms and the kitchen and stuff like that. You have to have the layout so that it appeals to tenants. Keep that in mind whenever you're legalizing a suite.
Yeah, one of our crew investors, Blaine, he has a question. 1 or 2 bedrooms, Tim, does it make a difference in rent? I say yes. We have seen big 1 bedrooms though, like massive 1 bedrooms down there. Normally, Blaine, you're only going to have 2 people. We only want you to have 2 people max. There's no way we're having kids, but Tim, we just sold a property with a kid. And Tim, I can't say that because you know what? People get divorced. And we just sold a property with a mother upstairs with her kid and a mother downstairs with her kid. And that's what's happening. I mean, if they're good people and the child's not a baby and not crying all the time, that will affect people upstairs. You don't want a big dog downstairs or upstairs. So that's why we're saying play matchmaker. You just want everything to be peaceful and get along. 1 or 2 bedrooms. We've been getting properties with 3 bedrooms. And you know what? It's great if they have visitors or they work from home, they have that office space. So yes, 1 or 2 or 3 bedrooms does make a difference in rent. And the average rents for a basement suite these days is roughly $1,650. We have seen it up to $2,000, which we're really, really excited about. And keep in mind, rule of thumb, 1 bedroom student rentals, 1 room rents for $1,100 these days. So there is your benchmark of, you know, if it comes with a lounge room, a nice bathroom, and a kitchen, you might be up around $1,350, $1,250 for a smaller, you know, suite of property.
Yeah, so leads us back to the title of the seminar, how do you double your cash flow? What we were just talking about, right? Make the place very, very attractive. Have a contemporary design, make sure it's clean, there's lots of light.
We actually bought this property.
There's
It was in Bennington, I think.
Good separation between the suites, separate laundry if you can, separate outdoor spaces if you can. I mean, these are not requirements, but if you can do it, do it. Location, location, location. Well, we can't go and get these suite of properties for a good price in some of the nicest neighborhoods in town. Even if you're like we were talking about Erin Woods. We used to never put clients into Erin Woods, but because the average price in Calgary is raising up so high, areas of the Northeast, areas along the East, along 17th Ave, some of those areas are becoming more attractive to the higher priced units. A lot of those areas are gentrifying, so you know, the crime is moving out, the homeowners are coming in, they're sprucing up the neighborhoods. So if you're in a certain neighborhood that may have had a bad stigma, there are parts of those neighborhoods that are good place to have suite of properties in it. So you're looking to make the place attractive to a tenant. That's the #1 way you're going to reach that doubling of your cash flow in the basement suites.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll just run through those numbers quickly so people can see what it looks like. Our numbers are a little bit older from the previous seminar, but you can get the gist of what it would look like. Tim, if you want to run.
Yeah, so if your total expenses, we've got this one, we just pulled it off of a property that one of our investors has. You know, he's roughly $2,500 in expenses per month. His rent, he was renting the whole house for $2,800. So he was making $300 cash flow, not bad, right? But when he put his basement suite in, now these rental rates are quite low because it's from a while ago. but 1,900 up and 1,250 down, he increased his cash flow to 3,150. Or sorry, his revenue, his rent to 3,150. So he basically doubled his cash flow. He went from 330 to 680. That's just over double. So by adding that basement suite, he's doubling his cash flow, which is what investors want to do. They want to see that cash flow increase, whether it's through the rental rate as we're seeing right now, or whether it's adding the suite.
Yeah, I mean, this investor was lucky enough to lock in his interest rate when we were all supposed to do that, Tim, which I didn't do. And I'm paying for it right now. But anyway, and you know what? His term would be coming up, so that bumps up. But guess what? Rents have gone up from what you see here to roughly 2,500 up with the double car garage. That would be on average, maybe 2,600 with the double car garage, and rents down now would be 1,600. So as we were saying earlier in the seminar, basement suites or suited property should be generating a minimum of $4,000 per month, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, and like as I said, these numbers are from a while ago. But doubling that positive cash flow is very, very simple to do when you get a great suite in your basement. I can't stress that enough, and make it very attractive to tenants.
Yeah. Okay. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. We're going to just roll through this really quickly. Just to explain a few things to you guys. If you are new to us today, we have a free book for you as promised on our meetup. If you attend one of our sessions, you simply go to crewinvesting.com. crewinvesting.com, and basically you can download this book for free. It is an ebook. It goes through the core fundamentals of investing in real estate. We love it. We put it out there so you can take action. What does it look like to take action? Simply by sending us an email. What we do when people do take action, we sit down with you and we work out a strategy with you. It's free of charge. We work out where you want to be, how we're going to get there. We put the financial aspect in place, and that really helps you understand if you want to move forward or not.
Yeah, so download that book. It's a great read, gives you a lot of information. It's a good start for new real estate investors out there. The next thing we have is our Fearless Real Estate book. We wrote this book over COVID, and what we did is we assembled all of the current real estate investment strategies that people are using these days. We have client stories about them. We've got client examples that every one of our clients that are using these specific strategies. We go through real life examples. We have interviews. We also have,
we have a chapter on basement suites, a
Yeah.
whole chapter on it. We have a chapter on flipping houses, on raising capital, on doing joint ventures, which is buying with other people. And the best thing about this book, we fell in love with Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, it changed our lives 20 years ago. We went out and bought multiple properties after that. But the thing about Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was very inspirational, but it didn't give you anything that help you move.
Take action.
Take action. This book's totally different. Actually, Tim, we got a review today from someone that just read it and passed it on to their brother for a must read. So we love hearing those stories. We know what we put into it, and we know that it gives you the meat and potatoes to take action and create wealth for yourself. Next, we'll show you our program. This isn't for everybody. You don't have to do it to work with us. What's so wonderful about it, it actually helps you every step of the way of investing in real estate. Our experienced investors that own multiple properties do take this on. It helps you with property management as well. Property management.
Yeah, let me talk to that. Our landlord kit, which is our property management system, we have all the forms, all the scripts for tenants, all the ways to screen tenants. We've got leases, we've got move-in move-out forms, we've got everything you need to self-manage your property. And that cost, that savings alone is just massive, because right now property management companies are charging 10% of your rent. If your rent is $2,500, that's $250 a month, and they charge you 1 month's rent to place a tenant.
Yeah.
So that's more than a $5,000 savings if you're managing your own property, and all of that is included as just one part of our Calgary Real Estate Wealth membership.
Yeah, that's just one. You get joint venture documents, which is worth $500. It's cancel anytime. We didn't want to make money off this. We want to make you money. Similar courses, we could tell you because we've done them, go for $17,000 to $20,000. Similar courses, and the worst thing about some of those courses is that you're still on your own after you get all of that material, and you still don't know what to do. The difference between us is that we want to be there every step of the way. I mean, our clients, we just love what they're doing. And we love what we're doing because of it. We're making people money. We're not just buying new houses. We say this all the time. We're not commission driven. We're results driven. And by doing it this way, our business has grown to where it is. And that's awesome.
Yeah. And a comment in the comment section said we're tailored to the local market, not the US market, of course. We've seen US investment companies come up here and give seminars and courses and stuff like that. They give you tons and tons of information that's not very relevant in the Canadian market.
Yeah.
It's very good if you're down in Kansas City or Atlanta or something like that. But our system of landlord-tenant laws, our system of property management, our system of buying and selling properties is quite different than it is down in the States. It's more of a Wild West down there. Up here, there's certain rules you have to follow, and we make sure that when we get our clients into properties that they're successful.
Blaine's just asking if you can share his handyman business. Blaine, you're a crew investor. Blaine's been a crew investor for nearly 2 years. Of course you can. And that's what we do for our investors. We try and work together. We've got electricians, Tim. We've got tradespeople. We've got David, who does all of our basements. We've got lawyers. We've got accountants. We've got home inspectors. We've got everything you need that we've hand selected. Do you have to use them? No, you don't. But you get access to our full team if you work with us.
So Blaine, throw your contact details in there. So if anybody needs a good handyman for your rental properties, Blaine's your guy. He'll throw his contact info in the chat there.
I love that.
Finally, someone was asking to go Crew TV.
Someone actually put a link into the chat about our Crew TV. I mean, if you're not using this, this is free. We're doing walkthroughs. The last walkthrough we did was on a basement suite that's getting renovated in Marlborough. I mean, this was taken 2 weeks ago. You can actually see what's going on. We give you investment opportunities on there, like our 10 townhomes in Okotoks, that you could skip sale and make money without even owning the property. I mean, this is crazy stuff that investors, Tim, read about but don't know how to do. We walk you through everything that you need to know when it comes to all sorts of investing. It could be on lease options, rent to own, agreements for sale, Airbnb, arbitrage, vendor take back loans, hard money lending. I could go on and on and on.
It's all in there.
It's doing basement suites. It's all on there. Check it out and look at it for yourself. And these are real people of all ages, all backgrounds. We've got different people from single mothers to Air Canada pilots to tradespeople, all different sorts of people doing this kind of stuff.
Okay, so that's our program for today. What Azad said, what we do is we try to make you money, and it's time in the market, not timing the market. Although right now, if you're buying, you're timing the market at a great time.
Yeah.
So what we do is it's results driven, not commission driven. If you need to, or if you want to have a one-on-one with us, our contact details with us, our contact details are right there on the screen. Write them down. We're more than happy to meet with you in our office here to see where you are right now and what your goals are and where you want to be, how you want to, move forward on your real estate investing. We're here to help you and to guide you in the right way.
Yeah, and I know Sarah was pretty keen. Sarah, if you need us to come over and check out your basement, we will even do that. We'll come over and tell you if it's worth it or not and give you an estimate. I mean, we've done so many, we don't need our contractor to come by. I just want to share this in 2 weeks' time. Please do go to work tomorrow and tell everyone. We're very, very excited because the small multifamily is really taking over Calgary right now. And we're very excited that we're going to have Shane Melanson, who is a friend of Calgary Real Estate Wealth for a very long time. When we say a long time, Tim, maybe 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
And he is the CEO of a company called Callamore. They are building for people like Round Square, is it Round Square? Yeah, Round Square. And he's in the Taza development. He's built over 100 small multifamily. Right now, he's putting 4 to 5 units with basement suites on lots. And he's coming in 2 weeks' time. I mean, it's going to be a Zoom again. He's going to be online in 2 weeks' time, going over the costs associated to building small multifamily. And if you've known us for a long time, we're very excited because we have so many clients out there, Tim, with lots that they could build on one day, and that is the exit strategy. I mean, he's building 5 townhouses with basement suites. That's 10 units, and some of these places are yielding up to $35,000 a month in rents. So he's coming on in 2 weeks' time to share his story and how you can get involved in building your multifamily and get started today.
Yeah, so that one is a must see. We hope to see you in 2 weeks. And that's it for today. Thanks to everybody for coming. Thanks for Danielle for giving her presentation. And we hope to see you guys
No more
in
questions. That's good.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Questions, great.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And we see you soon.
Yeah.